So I am a veterinarian, and I'm also the owner of the practice. I bought the practice in 2012, and I currently have another full-time vet and a part-time veterinarian that work with me here. My total staff, all my employees together, is about 15 of us. So it's a small practice, but we're a very busy practice. And we work mostly on small animals, so I see cats and dogs. We see a few goats every day. I do see some horses, although we don't do any farm calls. I've seen a few cows here. Anyone that can bring anything to us will see it here, but we don't do any farm calls currently for the clinic. So today we're going to talk a little bit about veterinary medicine. We also have nurses, so veterinary technicians. They're hopefully going to be called veterinary nurses soon. That's really what they are, but our technicians work with us. It's another important field. They do a lot of the things a human RN does. And then I also have assistants who help answer the phone and do all the really day-to-day important stuff too. So big thing, how do you get into veterinary medicine? So education-wise, it's a long process. So you have to do prerequisite courses at undergrad. You do not need an undergrad degree, so you don't have to have a bachelor's or an associate's or anything, but you have to complete all your prereqs. Takes at least 3 years. Most of the time, I recommend personally, if you're going to spend all that money, do 4 years and get your degree, because then you got to fall back. You always got to have another fallback option. Vet school itself is 4 years. After you graduate, you can practice right away. You don't have to do an internship. You can do an internship if you want, like say you want to teach or become specialized in a certain area, and you can do that, and then you do a residency and all of that stuff. But we can practice right away, which is what I did. Went out into practice starting in 2006, so I am out 13 years this year. So cost, school is not cheap and it's getting more expensive, so it is something you have to think about. When I came out of school many years ago, I had $150,000 in debt, and today they're coming out with almost $300,000 in debt. So it's not a easy burden. It is doable, but it is something you have to think about when you're deciding if you want to become a veterinarian, because that's a lot of money. That's a house, you know, and that's not even your house. You have to have that debt on top of that debt. Part of the problem with veterinary medicine is our expected earnings don't fit with our debt load. An average first year veterinarian coming out into small animal practice, you can expect to make between $60,000 and $70,000, depending on where you're at. Smaller cities is probably going to be a little less than that. Average is probably like $55,000. To put that in perspective, that means you're going to make, if you have a $60,000 salary, you're going to make like $2,500 a week. And then I had loan payments of $1,100 a month. So there's half your paycheck, you know, a quarter of your paycheck a month gone. So you really have to think about that. It is something you have to really consider if you're going to do this. But it can be really, really rewarding. It is a great career. So it's still something that if you really want to do it and love it, you can find a way to make it work. So my role in the clinic is veterinarian, owner. So see all the pets, we do exams, we decide on treatment options, and we do surgery. Right now today we're in my surgical room. So this is where we do spays, neuters, exploratories. We do a little bit of everything. We do bladder surgery, we do amputations. We did an exploratory with a spleen removal last week. So we do a lot of the things you would think about being done at a human hospital, just on a smaller scale. And we do 5 to 6 surgeries a day, Monday through Friday. We see about 40 to 50 pets a day, depending on the day. And that's from happy visits like vaccines to, animals that are sick, vomiting, whatever, trying to diagnose why they're doing that. You can see some of our technology in here. We use anesthesia machines. We have monitors for heart and respiratory rate and the amount of CO2 in their blood. We have an ultrasound, which we'll show you guys in a little bit. We have in-house laboratories, so we can do blood work right here in-house. We have digital x-ray. And so these are all things that are very important to help us diagnose and keep these pets healthy and hopefully fix whatever their problem is and make them live a long, happy life with their owners. So, as far as the equipment goes, I, of course, can run it all. My veterinarians can run it all, but our technicians are also very good at running this stuff. They run all the anesthetic machines. They can take x-rays. They are the ones who keep our blood machines running. They keep our autoclave running. So our technicians are really important. They help us. That way I can go and help more pets. They take care of the things that I need done in that appointment. So whether that pet needs x-rays, they go and do that for me. If they need blood work, they'll draw that and run it for me. So that's another field that you could consider if you don't necessarily want to become a veterinarian. You could still have a great role in a practice as a technician. So some things, to think about as, do I want to be a vet? What do I need? What backbone or skills do I need? You need a good science base, science and math, huge. I do math every day. We are using anatomy every day. So you have to have a good core. Some skills that I don't think kids think about is, the big one is communication. A lot of people, and especially kids, I'll have them come to me, well, I don't really like people, I really love animals. Well, the problem is every animal I see comes attached to a person. And so that person is the person you end up talking to. I talk to the pet a lot, but they don't answer me. So we do a lot of communication. So communication skills are really key. You have to have good people skills. You have to be able to relate things. I have a lot of things that are called fancy terms, and then I have to take them and make them terms that are understandable so the owner knows what I'm talking about. So you have to be able to relate to that owner and get them to understand what you're trying to describe. And 4-H is a great doorway for some of those skills. A lot of the skills that I have with communication I got through 4-H and FFA. And without them, it would have been a lot harder for me to do the job that I do today. So, I guess we'll go with, my advice for students. One, make sure you really, really, really want to do it, because it's a lot of debt load. I mean, it's a lot. And, if you think about, I have that debt load, and now I own a practice. I also own a dairy farm. All of a sudden, you're $3 million in debt, and you have to pay for all of that. So we have to think about all of that. Everything you want to do requires money, unfortunately. And so that is something you need to consider. If I do this, will I be able to pay it back? But there are things, there are loans that are not too terribly, don't have too much interest. They're set up differently now. There may be some forgiveness things on the horizon. There are some programs where you can work in a disadvantaged area and maybe get some of your loans paid off. Although they're hard to get into, but maybe they'll be better someday soon. And there are scholarships, so if you work really hard, some of that debt you can get paid off for free. So, and again, that comes into your school, working hard, studying hard, things like 4-H, because you can have more scholarship opportunities through 4-H. So I guess that's a nitty gritty. Do some questions.
Yeah,
let's see if we can get some.
Yeah, you guys submitted some really cool questions, so let's get to a couple of those. We were talking here in the office, our favorite questions, so let's get to that one first. Where was it? Let me find it out here. How many times have you been bitten?
That is a great question. I have been bitten about 6 times. None of them were thankfully very bad. My worst bites are cat bites, because cats are sneaky little devils. I love cats. They're my favorite species probably to work with. But I think me being only bitten 6 times is a great testament to how well I've become attuned to what that animal is telling me. Most of the time with a dog, you can tell before they bite you that they're going to. And so it's all about taking care of those risks.
All right, another one I liked on there. What's the most different, unique, most cool animal that you've seen as a patient?
I saw a sugar glider once and a snake. I saw a snake at the fair one year that had gotten out of the circus and gotten in the engine. Those are probably the most unique. We have a patient that's regular. We have a lady who has a wildlife rescue and she has a bobcat. So we get to see, I can't remember her name. I think it's Minnie or Tiny. She ain't Minnie.
All right, so then a couple more here. So it says, what animals do you like to treat, and what are maybe ones that you are not so fond of treating?
I've decided, well, with time, I'm a better small animal vet, so I like dogs and cats. They're probably my favorite. I love cats. They're my favorite species. I love horses, but I hate treating them. They're difficult to treat. It's more dangerous, and I prefer to just ride them.
All right, last one. It says, I have experience with cows, pigs, and horses. Is your job similar to a farm experience?
In some ways, when you're in vet school, you have to do all species. So having that farm experience will be very useful. And then you can decide if you want to have that be your career. I have a dairy farm, so I still use all of that every day. And a lot of the things you use on the farm, husbandry, it plays a role in every aspect of small animal medicine too. So having a farm background is useful.
Great. All right, Mrs. Williams, if you want to unmute your mic, if there's any other questions that maybe someone thought of here, we'll answer those here real quick before we move to the next section.
I'm gonna make them.
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay, they don't have any questions at this point.
They don't have any questions right now.
All right, okay, we'll move on to the next section.
Okay.
I'm gonna unmute.
All right. So I'm going to take you on a quick tour. I'm going to take you probably into the cat room and the kennel. The dog room is too noisy. And then we'll see if I had an ultrasound out. We'll see if we can grab one of the cats and show you a bladder or something like that. So, yeah. All right, so we've been in my surgery room, so now we're in my treatment room. So this is where we bring all of our pets, like before surgery. If we're getting ready to do x-rays, they're gonna come through here. This right here is our ultrasound. So similar to what you would see in a doctor's office, just maybe a little smaller than some of them. But we use it to find bladders to get urine samples, to get livers, anything in the belly. So if we turn this way, this is all of our lab equipment right here, small portion. So we can have a chemistry and a blood count in about 10 minutes. We can have a thyroid sample run in about 20. So it's really nice to have this and have right at the time we have an answer for our owners. So behind us, this direction is our x-ray machine. It doesn't look very exciting, but it is all digital. So we're able to put it on the computer and then it ends up going into the cloud where we can email it, put it on a CD, whatever we need to do with that x-ray. No. All right. I guess we'll try to go in the cat room or the dog room. Let's go in the dog room. Cat room looks crowded. No. It's actually quiet today. So this is our kennel area. And so these pets are here for surgery today. So this guy was neutered this morning. And so now he's awake and he'll go home this afternoon. And we do a little bit of boarding here. We also hospitalize pets here if needed. So, but this is very basic, but it's easy to clean, which is what's really important. It's got to be easy to keep the animals from getting disease from other animals. So, all right, we'll go out here and I'll see if I can grab one of the clinic cats. Hang here. I'm gonna see if I can get Ripper. I haven't seen a guinea pig. So this is Ripper. He lives here. So we have some clinic cats. One, because we're cat hoarders and we love them. But two, because when he's a little bigger, he'll be a blood donor if we need blood for one of our patients. So, all right, we're gonna make you lay on your side, okay? So this is just some alcohol. Put it on his belly. That helps the probe. So an ultrasound is just what it sounds like. It's sound. And so sound waves don't travel through the air very well, so you can see the screen is dark. So we're using the alcohol to help make an interface so we can see things. So this is his belly. I don't like this. He just went to the bathroom, so there it is. The little black ball right there is his bladder. It's right there.
I know. You're so mad.
You just want to get, you should have guinea pig.
He's like,
So that brief look was bladder. So when we have this, we can look at the bladder wall and see if there's a problem. We can get a urine sample if we need one, because we often need a sample and a cat won't pee in a cup. So we can get a sample that way with a needle, and it helps guide us. So we use technology every day to help us practice better medicine. So, and then we have 3 exam rooms here, and I won't take you in one. There's basic exam rooms. They have a table just like this, and we do our exam. We can draw blood in there, and that's where we meet with the owner and talk to the owner. It's nice and quiet. So.
See 2 other cats behind us. Are
Yeah,
they?
look at those guys.
That is Kenny and Whitney. Kenny is just living here until he was dropped off by someone. He needs an eye removed. And so he's living here until he gets that fixed, and then he's going to go to another home. Whitney, I think, is staying. I'm not sure yet.
Oh, someone's whining.
All right. So, any last questions here for Dr. Rachel?
There you go.
There we go. Okay, so what's their questions?
Okay, go Hayden.
Have you ever had like an animal when you're going to do surgery, like run away or get away before you could? Or like,
Have you had an
Animal get away before surgery.
We've had a client. We had a client here for an exam, and the cat got out of the car and ran into the bushes before they came in the building. And so, we tried to catch it. We set some traps, and it ended up going home. It showed up at its own house about a week later. So that has happened. We've had some get away in the building, but they can't get very far here. So we just catch them and restrain them again.
All right. Any other questions?
Christian, go.
have you ever got bitten by a snake or something?
I have not been bitten by a snake, thankfully. I try not to touch them, and so it's minimized my risk.
Who else? Yeah,
Any other ones?
it's your chance. If you want to be a vet, here's the person to ask. I have a question. About how many hours do you put in the course of a week?
That is a good question. I would say I work here about 40 to 50 hours, and then when I am on call, sometimes I'm here all weekend, all day. Sometimes I'm here till really late at night. We do see emergencies until about 10 p.m. So if I have a lot of emergencies, I'm here more. We try here at our office to not work too many more than 40 to 50 hours. We want to have a good work-life balance so that we can go home and enjoy our lives outside of the office. Where I worked before, it was no problem for me to work 70 hours a week. So it depends a little bit on your location and your job.
All right. Awesome. Maybe one more question.
Okay, Hayden, go.
Have
Nice
you
and
ever
loud.
had an animal pass away?
Give an animal pass away.
Oh, we do see that happen a lot. We'll have them pass away, due to surgery. If it's a surgery that's really risky, we're just trying to do it to hopefully make them have a better quality of life. if they're really sick. You know, even though the medicine that we are trying to help them with, sometimes it doesn't work, just like in human medicine, and so they'll die. And then being veterinarians, we do also perform euthanasia, and so we also put animals to sleep when their discomfort is so much or their quality of life is so poor that they're hurting so bad that we'll help them go to sleep. So we do see some of that almost every day.
All right.
Okay. I think that's it.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us. And if you could give a big thank you to our vet here today.
Thank you guys for coming.
And look, we're excited to try some more of these out. So if you guys have some ideas of some places that you'd like us to go, Mrs. Williams has my email. Tell her to send me an email with some ideas.
I sure will.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Pumpkin patch.